everyone.
Hi, Spencer.
Good to see you all. Thank you. I'm Spencer. I'm Reed. Nice to meet you guys. We are both big explorers in the AI space, serial entrepreneurs, creators, artists, and we see a big shift in AI in industries right now. And it's really important, in our view and a lot of other people on campus, to spread awareness about this, educate people a lot about what AI actually is. It's not some magical being. It's just indexes of data, and a lot of students are using AI every day in their business applications, their startups, their work, their creative thought, and we're here to bring you that firsthand. So.
Yeah, and a large part of why we're doing this is because we feel like there is slight discrepancy between the student-facing side of it and the faculty-facing side of AI, so we wanted to bring people together, kind of show what we're using AI for outside of the classroom, because we feel like that's been the main focus, so we're really trying to, break through barriers that we haven't seen before, and that's kind of why we're here. So.
Today we have 15 presenters for you who all are either small business owners, creators, whatnot, and they're going to pitch you in 3-minute pitches. We are going to restrict it to no more than a minute of Q&A, maybe 2 questions per presentation, because we do want to keep on a tight schedule for all of you, and we will have a short break in about a midsection area for all of you to get more food and snacks and the rest. So we can get started. Before we get started, though, one word for
I just want to take 20 seconds and just ask everybody to clap and thank Spencer and Reese just ran this whole thing from top to bottom. So can we have a
Hello, my name is Brock Alpha, and I want to start off by telling a story. Back in 2020, I was a big sneaker guy. Love sneakers, collecting, all that. Now I wanted a way to effectively protect my sneakers cheap and quick, so I started Sneaker Store. Straight to your door, we provide all the things you need to keep your shoes in perfect condition. These are some of the products we have. Now, little did I know, fast forward to 2023, next slide, that I would be using AI. Now, I only started using AI 1 year ago. I had no idea. The first thing I used was ChatGPT. The way we make money is through posting videos on social media, and through the videos, users come to our website and buy our product. I was spending upwards of 30 or more minutes creating videos for social media. Now, by implementing video hooks and scripts that ChatGPT gave me, I was able to amass over 100 million views with our products and gain over 75,000 followers just by the descriptions, video hooks, and scripts that ChatGPT gave me. This is an example of a video that was scripted fully by ChatGPT and brought in over 40,000 likes. Next, in those social media videos, I used 11 Labs. Generative AI to text. All I did was enter what I wanted to say in the video, and it spat out a voice that was natural sounding, and the comments, next slide, couldn't get enough of it. There's no sound, but you can choose from upwards of 20 people, different sounding voices. Generative AI with Photoshop, I entered a prompt that said, give me a more eye-catching product photography photo of paint splashing in the background. And it's about this. My click-through rate increased by almost 5%. Here's another example, and another one. Incredible. I also integrated Canva with ChatGPT and created over 30 pieces of Instagram content in less than 3 minutes. Something that would have taken me hours to do without AI. This is just the beginning. I want to learn how to integrate AI into my chatbot. I want AI to make videos for me. Possibilities are truly endless, and I am still learning every single day on how to use AI better in my business. But that is how I use AI throughout this past year to be my assistant. Thank you.
couple of questions.
Well, we
say were the three main factors in how you accumulated so many views on Instagram?
So yeah, in the beginning, it was all about testing on social media, posting the video, see what did well and what didn't. And when I inputted that data into ChatGPT, it would make scripts based off what had worked in the past, and that would expedite the process of trying new things, and that's would really help boost the videos on social media. Yep.
When you were, because you mentioned that you're using ChatGPT to create different
Yeah.
prompts and like ideas for marketing on
Mhm.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know if it was like just spitting random ideas, or if it was using it as based on marketing research for how to best target whatever market you were going?
So yeah, in the prompt, I said market people who love their sneakers. Make it not too salesy. I used prompts like that and tested different things, but really came down to just perfecting the prompt based off the market and like.
Alright, we have time for one more question on this. If not, we can keep
Good evening, everybody. My name is Damari Johnson. I'm currently a graduating senior here at Babson College, but I didn't always know what Babson College was. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings to a single mother in Dallas, Texas. Growing up, I sold candy, I sold sneakers. I did things like that, things that made me happy, things that I enjoyed to help make money, to help do things that I would like to do growing up. I played football growing up. I ran track. I ran track in high school. I currently still run track. I'm a senior running track and field team at Babson College. I ran track in high school, and while I was in high school, I went to a business high school. Fast forward 4 years, and like 4 years of case competitions later, I learned a lot. Every year I went to nationals and new competition, from economics to financial analysis, to things like that. And I graduated with my associates in accounting. So I knew I wanted to go into accounting. I did like mentorship programs at companies like EY and PwC. And I spent my last 2 summers interning at PwC. Next fall, I'll be joining PwC as a full-time financial services tech analyst. A lot of what I did this past summer was a lot of what was talked about in the first presentation in terms of using AI in like the financial services industry. In my case, as an accounting, using AI to automate the end-to-end workflow of the auditing process, spitting out work papers, lead sheet generation, risk control matrices, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the professional side of how I use AI. Currently, I'm the president of the Black Student Union, and that is how I use AI in my day-to-day life. So here, I want to explain to you how I use my day-to-day life in AI outside of the classroom as leader of an organization. The AI-driven platform that I use is called ChatGPT, and it has transformed the way that I communicate, plan events, and create documents. First, let's talk about how GPT has revolutionized my experience. What the BSU aims to do is to boost efficiency and the power of leadership for people through GPT. The role of the BSU on campus is to enrich the Babson community inside and outside of the Afro diaspora through lots of events. All the events that I came up with this year have been through ChatGPT. I say, hey, give me a year's worth of events where we can help close the racial wealth gap while also enriching the professional development of students on campus. What this led us to do is product drives, or period product drives, for local fraternities and sororities in the Boston area. We've also had Johnson House talks on campus, recurrent professional development events with the SEO career opportunities and community outreach initiatives. We use these GPT tools to empower leadership by not only helping create flyers, but to empower access to information so that you don't have to go to us for information. You can go online and get answers anywhere from you. By harnessing the power of ChatGPT, the Black Student Union streamlined the process of communication, the automatic repetitive tasks of making flyers, making emails, and drafting up different agendas. What this does is create access to valuable resources efficiently and reduces the amount of time it takes to plan things like this presentation. The way that we use ChatGPT in the BSU is by organizing events, providing mentorship, and helping facilitate discussions. In the BSU next semester, we're coming up with a mentorship program facilitated through our Alumni Association. Every other Friday, we have an Ask Me Anything with the Alumni Association. And we're also working on a BSU Families Mentorship. Those are all ChatGPT ideas that we have come up with through GPT and got support with through the Black Alumni Association. So in conclusion, leveraging the capabilities of something like ChatGPT can significantly enhance the operations of organizations like not only the Black Student Union, but any organization, any company, nonprofit, startup, or whatever. It would not only foster a collaborative environment, but also disparate the amount of data and information that you have access to and create a productive environment for all members. By the way, everything I said was AI. Like, I didn't make this presentation. Like, I'm confident. Like, my little script is like something I made on GPT about like how I should. Yeah, it's like the thing I took a picture of. So it's taking like 10 minutes tops. Like, I gotta go to track practice after this. So, thank you for listening. I'll take it.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Demar.
Yeah.
How do you say you use ChatGPT to provide mentorship for your community? I was
Yes.
curious, how do you go about that?
So we had the idea to make a mentorship program, but there's 15 of us. There's only 8 weeks in the semester. So I was like, hey, if we want to teach kids in high schools how to do entrepreneurship, we have 15 weeks and there's 5 of us. How many people should go each week, and what do we teach the kids each 5 weeks? So instead of having to like go to my advisory board, I sent them the GPT output, and I was like, can you guys revise this? Like, here's what I made. I was like, I didn't actually make it, but like, can you revise it? So like, yeah, they revised it. We just went from there. So yeah, that's something we'll be starting next semester. We did like this whole semester. Refine that one document that we started with GPT. So yeah, that's how we're like trying to do it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Joshua. I'm a student at Babson College. I'm a sophomore. And what I do is I help medical estheticians book more advanced aesthetic appointments using AI. How many of you guys have ever had like problems with your skin or things of that nature? Everybody. That makes sense. Perfect. And this is obviously a problem that's common across America. Your skin is one of the most direct correlations with your confidence, and when you have whether it's fine lines, acne scars, dark spots on your face, that can affect your confidence in a certain manner. And a lot of people, they look for areas and ways to be able to fix their skin. I mean, y'all always getting pitched different products and services to make that sort of thing happen, but it can be difficult for you to actually connect with these estheticians because typically they're not typically found in a very conventional manner. But this industry is a $100 billion industry. So being able to actually connect that gap, I mean, you can make some bread. And so what I do, like I said, I help medical estheticians be able to book these types of appointments and connect with these types of people without lifting a finger using AI and automation. And so in terms of getting the leads, what we do is we obviously run ads, typical ads using machine learning and automation to get people to raise their hand and say, hey, I want this service. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't able to actually connect with them because they're either in the studio. Barbers, if you're cutting hair, you can't cut hair and respond to new leads. That's very difficult, right? You're going to mess up the guy's cut. And if you don't respond within a minute, your chance of converting the lead decreases by over 400%, according to MIT research. And so what we do is we are able to put this slide, and we use conversational AI. We train virtual assistants to be able to give them, we do prompt engineering so that we're able to tailor our service, tailor our virtual assistant to whatever studio we're working with, and then they'll be able to respond as if they are the actual esthetician. And typically the response rate is within 17 seconds. And so I saw you guys some of you guys were able to text the number and be able to conversate with the bot, but this is just one of the examples of people that of a bot going to work. A lead comes in. Obviously, this is 10 times speed, but if you look at the top right at the time, this is a typical conversation between a lead and someone that's trying to come in and book on the calendar. And so and so the esthetician doesn't have to do anything. This is completely hands off. We're able to help them come in and make money in their sleep. And so at the end, what does this result in? We help more people gain their confidence because their skin looks better, and we help estheticians make a lot more bread. Thank you. Questions? Yes, sir.
So you're acting as a middleman. What's to stop the esthetician from doing it themselves?
I think that the biggest stop is that they can't. Like, it's difficult for you to do marketing and be in the studio at the same time.
No, I agree with that. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on my point.
Yes, sir.
What's to stop them from doing what you're doing? Because you're doing it for them, but eventually they'll learn that and do it themselves, yeah?
I hope so. You know, I think that if they are able to learn it and do it themselves, then they'll be able to make money. I think that right now, as all of us are, we're new to the AI space, and so me just coming in, providing them the resources to do it. In the meantime, we can make bread together. Sure. Question.
What's the name of the conversation AI bot that you use?
We use, well, the source is called Capri AI, and then we use obviously webhooks to tie in Capri to the CRM. The CRM is called Go High Level, and so that's just where we come in and capture all the leads. But Capri is where we are able to actually do all the prompt engineering, do all the temperature and presence adjustments. One more question.
I think I have the opposite question, which is why don't you get rid of the esthetician if like the bot is doing so much work? Now looking to get rid of estheticians.
First off, I love my SDs. All SDs I work with, you guys are amazing. I think that it's difficult for maybe in the future AI can come in and work on people's faces and things of that nature. But in the meantime, the SDs got the skills, and I'm just trying to bring the people to the SDs. One more.
I like the idea a lot. One thing I think you should use also to scale up. Google is actually working on a thing called Palm 2, where they actually created, or they're trying to develop a bot that answers phone calls for estheticians and hairdressers with an AI voice. And a person can talk to the AI bot, and it seems very smooth and seamless, where it seems like a real person, and you can schedule appointments through them. So it's sort of the same thing, but instead of messaging, it's actually like a voice call.
What's it called?
Google is developing it. Just look up Palm 2. They released it in the last developer.
One of the things that we did before is we use I think Bro was talking about 11 Labs. We use 11 Labs, so when people call in, it will like automatically send a voicemail drop based off the NLP, right? But having the people actually be able to conversate with someone is ridiculous. That's some next level stuff. Yeah. Hopefully we will tap that in the future. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Josh looks very good. I feel very underdressed compared to him, so sorry about that. My name is Jeffrey. I'm a junior here at Babson, and I'm going to talk about how I use AI for app and web design. So what I do is I run a mobile application and web design small business where I create prototypes for student entrepreneurs. My huge target market is Babson students, obviously, because when they want to develop a product, they first need to create a sketch or a high-level fidelity prototype to give to the developer so that they know what they want for the app or website. And so that's where I come in. So I use Figma, which is a prototyping tool, probably the industry standard, and I create wireframes that look like this one on the left. So prototyping before AI. This is a quick case study I want to talk about, and this is a company that I worked with over the summer before the AI tools for Figma actually rolled out. So Social Trade is a financial market social app where they want it to be like Twitter for the stock market, and they wanted to roll out a investing competition for students. So it would be Babson students versus BU students versus BC students, whatever. And so I used Figma to design the new feature and every component that would go with this new investing challenge. And the thing about prototyping is that it's very, very meticulous. Like everything you see was either typed, drawn, pulled from the internet. They're all individual components. So these are all like individual squares. The shadowing is drawn. Everything is very manual, and there's a lot of, it just takes a lot of time. So I just wanted to show you guys this. Back to the presentation, please. And so I want to talk about a new revolutionary tool that is, I believe, is going to completely change the prototyping industry. You can click on it. Yeah. So the tool is called Diagram, and what Diagram is it is a plugin for for Figma, and one of their features is called Genius. And I just want to talk about a couple of the features that come with this new plugin. It just rolled out, I think, this month or last month, so I wasn't able to use it for Social Trade, but moving forward with all the rest of my projects I will be using. And it probably cuts my prototyping time by 75%. If Social Trade took me, for example, 10 hours, using this tool will probably take me 2.5, something like that. And so it has a bunch of features, so I'm just going to go over real quickly the cool ones. So for example, you could type in what you want a Figma to prototype for you. So for example, an app to book intergalactic travel, generate, and it would literally create designs for you, and everything is auto-designed. I wouldn't have to draw any rectangles anymore, we wouldn't have to design any buttons, no text, anything like that. So that's one of them. Another one, if you're already working on a design, it'll auto-suggest components for your application. So for example, this Pizza Planet component, oh, I like that, let me put that in my design. Another one is there's I think they call it a smart assistant, where when you are building your application, say draw this, that's the Genius smart assistant right there, and it'll create new screens and wireframes for me automatically, so that I don't have to create other pages that Genius knows that I already want to make. So it's kind of like the analogy I like to make is if I'm building the foundation for the house, diagram and Genius is going to help me auto-complete the rest of the house. So a couple more features. This one I find really cool. It's called Smart Elements, and what it allows you to do is you can type out the names of the names of the so the names of the elements and the structure of the app that you like. So for example, I want an iOS status bar, I want a product filter. What else? Let me see what else it suggests. A shopping grid. Okay, generate that. I like that. So boom, it automatically generates the design based on what I type for which layers I want. So that's a super cool way that AI is completely revolutionizing product design. And I just want to go over one more quick thing. Figma this year actually also released something that is super cool, and it's called developer mode. So my business, right now I'm only selling prototypes pretty much and wireframes for entrepreneurs, but with this developer mode, I can now offer my clients the code for the components that I create. Because using AI, they can, I'm not sure how they do it, but they provide me code, they can provide me different languages, they can provide me CSS, they can provide me React, whatever, iOS, Android code, and although it isn't perfect yet, it's nowhere close to perfect, but I think this is a huge leap for the product design industry overall, and specifically for my business, because instead of just offering prototypes, I can now offer prototypes, I can offer them the code for their apps, albeit it's not perfect, but it significantly reduces the cost that they have to go spend for an offshore developer, an in-house developer, and yeah, so that leads me to my conclusion. With AI, it lowers a lot of technical barriers that product designers may have faced before. For example, not knowing how to code, not having the time. And prototyping will be easier, faster, and cheaper. And this will become more lucrative for my business, and the client is able to save a significant amount of time and money and frustration dealing with, say, offshore developers, expensive developers, and such. And I just want to preface that I don't believe that this will be taking away jobs, but instead it'll make everybody more creative and faster overall. So thank you. Questions? Sorry. Yes.
How did you come across that idea?
So Figma, the tool that I use, hosts Fig Jam every year where they roll out new features and stuff. And this was like their one of the features that they rolled out. They rolled out a ton of other AI ones, but I only had 3 minutes, so I focused on this one. It's only front end right now, so you can't exactly do like back end stuff in the front end, and the front end works. It works well, but it's not efficient. It's not elegant. Like it's very just forcing it to work. Like it's by no means the best way. Okay, it will. So I don't want to go back, but the prototype that I showed, it will create that, but it'll be slow because it's not that efficient.
All right, let's have one more.
One more?
Last question.
Yes.
So does that mean if this creates more of the code for the front end, does that mean that your business would either evolve to do more, for example, beta testing to make sure everything works.
Exactly.
Like finessing, you know, if you were able to get behind it, finesse some of the
Yeah.
code.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm actually taking coding class this semester. My teacher's right here. So yeah, it would lead to a bit of a shift in my business, but I'm fine with that because with the same amount of time, I could make 2x, 3x the amount of money.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Thank you.
Alright. How's it going, everybody? My name is Vanessa Gardner, and today we're going to be talking about how AI is meeting art and creative use applications of AI in entrepreneurship and marketing. So first of all, I also want to point out that that is my wall that I generated over there. I worked with some faculty in the Weissman Foundry in order to kind of visualize creative use applications as well as rapid prototyping examples. A little bit more about AI art itself. This is kind of more abstract art that I've created. I use tools such as DALL-E 3, Midjourney, as well as the new Adobe Firefly that we all now have access to if you didn't know in our Adobe Creative Suite through Babson. So if you haven't tried that, I would definitely recommend that. But this kind of just shows the variety in terms of what we can actually create, from paper maches to also like structures and just like more abstract things. And then in terms of entrepreneurship, so this is some product design that I've done. You can kind of see the vast variety of things that we can achieve through artificially generated images in terms of visualizing certain products that don't exist yet. So for example, these rings that I created, as well as some like Nike products. So the one on the top is actually a Nike heel that I created there's a way in Midjourney where you can actually copy the image URL into the prompt. So I took the Nike logo and I put it into the prompt itself and then generated a heel prompt around that. So kind of combining already existing images as well as textual descriptions in order to make this possible. We also have rapid prototyping like the coffee maker, as well as a Moss couch, and also some medical devices that we could potentially use as well. I'm not going to get too much into the prompting behind this just because it might take a little bit too much time, but if you guys have any questions at the end, feel free to ask. And then one thing that is definitely valuable about AI-generated art and graphic design is it expedites the creative vision. So I myself am a fashion designer. I run my own sustainably based vintage clothing business, Urgent Revolution. And when I'm thinking of ideas in terms of creating products, there's a very long drafting process from sketching to actually sewing to actually the creation of the products. But the drafting process and the ideation process often takes a very long time, kind of stopping the creation of those products from ever happening. So now we can use AI-generated images to essentially visualize patchwork designs, as well as more abstract things that you may have not even thought of, like the top one. This is also an Adidas like sweatshirt that I generated using the Adidas logo that I put in. And these are all AI generated, and you can kind of see the photorealism and how it's improving over time. So now I want to talk a little bit about direct marketing applications. So like I said, my business, Urgent Revolution, this was my old logo that I was using. I paid a graphic designer maybe $10, $15 in order to achieve this. And we had it for around, I think, 6 months. And I was thinking, how can we use AI in order to kind of reimagine, get new logos, kind of rebrand ourselves in a way. So there is a way to do logo variation, and kind of like the Nike example that I suggested, where we put in our logo and then with a prompt using something like minimalistic creative variation of, in quotations, our logo, as well as this, as well as my image, we were able to generate actually 5 new logos that were similar, but completely different than the original. This is the one we ended up going with, and it's currently our logo that we have and we're branding ourselves with. So. And then I also want to go into a little bit of logo creation and graphic design. So these are on the left are some of the startups I've been involved with, as well as some organizations on campus. We can be very visually communicative, and the process in order to actually create these designs is very, 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 very much faster than it has been. And on the right, this is actually some graphic design work I've done for my business using DALL-E 3. So in the past, one of the biggest problems that image generation was having was the text part of the images. So something like this, Urgent Revolution, Urgent Revolution, Urgent Revolution, with no mistakes was not possible before the last update. But now DALL-E 3 that is now integrated into your ChatGPT 4 if you are a premium subscriber is probably about 60 to 70% in terms of actually getting the text right when you put it in correctly. And in terms of tips I have for that, I would just say use quotation marks in the text that you're trying to make, as well as say keep the text minimalistic, because oftentimes it kind of just goes in tangents and does stuff you really don't want it to do. And then these are kind of some out-of-the-box advertisements, again, using Nike logos as well as the Adidas logos, kind of crafting creative advertisements that may have never been seen before, such as this like architecturally structural hood of Adidas, the cloud jacket that people are sitting on the logos, the Nike one. It's just very out of the box, and once you start to work with the machine, it actually shows you more things than you would actually ever been able to think of before. And so now we're actually able to do image to animation. So these three are images that I generated in and of itself in Midjourney, and using a tool called Pika Labs, you can, and it's free by the way, you can also just download it on Discord. You can put an image into Pika Labs like this, craft a prompt around it. It's kind of like the Midjourney example that I was giving, but instead of changing the image of itself, it'll actually create an animation out of that image. So it's a 3 to 4 second animation, and then I just put it into a MP4 to GIF converter, and it'll just repeat the animation, kind of creating an ever-going animation. Thank you guys. Any questions?
Can you elaborate a little more on the animation portion? Is that like you make it in Midjourney?
Yeah.
And then you said Pika? Like.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't have to be AI generated images. This could be any image in and of itself. You can take any image you want and you can input it into Pika and then craft a prompt around the image like you would generating an artificially generated image, except you're generating the animation. So you have to keep in mind kind of the motion that I was using. So for example, on the left, when I first put it in, it was kind of like everywhere inside the light bulb and you couldn't really tell. So I kind of reiterated and I was like, make sure that the lightning bolts are thin, moving slowly and clear to the actual display. So, and then kind of similar to the writing, but yeah. Any other questions?
For the new Virgin Revolution logo that you generated, did you tweak it at all, or did you just take what it gave you?
I actually just took what it gave me, but it was a very iterative process. So it wasn't just like, you prompt it once. And I think that's a kind of misconception around AI generated images, is it's just automatic like that. I probably have over 12,000 images generated on Midjourney, DALL-E, things like that. And it still takes me at least 3 or 4 times to really get my vision in terms of like actual output. So even though I took just that image in itself, converted it to a PNG, it was a very iterative process.
You're so creative.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Tell me, of the 3 tools, do you have a favorite? Midjourney, Firefly, DALL-E 3?
So I was doing a little bit of research with Professor Noyes over the summer, and we were working on very communicative language. And throughout the whole summer, I was very focused on Midjourney because I felt like that gave the highest quality of outputs as well as the most diverse in terms of you can do cartoons, very photorealistic. I would say Midjourney is probably still the most photorealistic tool out there. But in terms of the newest update with DALL-E 3, Midjourney is still nowhere near to getting the text as close as it is right now. So since the update, I would say I definitely have had a kind of leaning more towards the DALL-E 3 side of things, just because in my line of work, the graphic design, text is super important, and the fact of, if I were to generate something like that on the left, I would have to put that into Photoshop, actually put the text there myself, and it's just making the process longer when AI's kind of main value is making that process shorter.
Just one quick follow-up. Students at Babson, not all, but many, have access to DALL-E 2 for free.
Yeah.
Difference between 2 and 3.
I would say the biggest thing is image quality and just text, like text accuracy. Yeah, I would say those 2.
If I could put in there, on the model side, OpenAI is doing really great with how iterative their models are in terms of NLP, with natural language processing. But one of the biggest things is that you have a wide variety of libraries, of course, data sets and imagery that a lot of these different models use. So you'll see differences in what models you can use on your own. If you're doing a bit more back-end development, you can plug in specific libraries for what you're generating to point it towards a certain aesthetic or theme. But
But then there's obviously the natural language processing, and DALL-E 3 is taking that to a whole new level. So,
Thank you guys.
appreciate it. Alright, so now we have a video from one of the Babson AI Club's e-board members. This is Alan Zhu, and he has a lot of background in back-end development, AI research. Today he'll be doing a video demo because he is still on his way back from MIT at MIT. So here we go.
Alright, so hi everyone, my name is Alan. I'm currently a senior graduating in just under 30 days. And I'm also on the AI Club e-board. And today I ran across this really interesting post by Dr. Jim Fan, a NVIDIA AI scientist, Stanford PhD and all that, ex-OpenAI, Google AI. And he raised a really interesting point where you can just sort of like create a demo website just from scratch, from scratch drawings. So this is something that I'm going to show you guys how to do today, and it'll actually take less than a minute to do so. So if you have the latest version of ChatGPT 4 tools / ChatGPT 4v, whatever you want to call it, specifically the new multi-model version of GPT-4 that OpenAI has released, I think about a week ago-ish, more than a week ago. Oh no, just under a week ago. But basically I copied this image, sort of like pasted it here, and as you can see, it's got a headline, my joke website, and you know, if people really want jokes, they could push a button to review a really funny joke, and same but joke 2, or even a funnier joke, push the punchline to review you know, the joke for joke 2. And I said, according to the image, create a website demo. You can ask it to create it visually because it has DALL-E 3 now incorporated, and DALL-E 3 is really good with words, obviously, and text. And also, I wanted to be able to host this website, so I asked for its code in HTML and JavaScript as well. And as you can see, this is a really good demo, I would say. Sort of like it's better than what I can create in Figma, at least. And also there's a visual representation, and it gave me sort of like this code. Oh, I can be like, oh, I don't understand this code, so what does it do? So I go to just any IDE, any you know, even text editor, and sort of like save it, and try to just open its, you know, index.html, and here it is, an image that, or a website that was created in like under 30 seconds. So yeah, I guess this is something that's really powerful for demo purposes, for anyone, not even just entrepreneurs, but to do any sort of like prototyping, anything. This is super useful, super no code or even low code. So yeah, thank you guys for listening.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great. As you know and heard, AI is an expansive multitude of applications, including how I use AI to prepare for my car's inevitable break. Now,
Thank God you used a Lamborghini.
just wait for the next slide. Now, I want everybody to close their eyes. Close your eyes. I want everybody in this room to remember a time their car broke down. The sinking feeling in your stomach, the helplessness, the wave of frustration. A car breakdown isn't just an inconvenience. It's an emotional ordeal, a ripple of chaos, a mutiny. What if I told you, by the way, you can open your eyes. What if I told you you can prevent this? You can save the money, the time, the immense heartache. Welcome, AI. Just click it.
Right. Very good.
big book. Nonetheless, this is my beautiful cherry. Despite the clean, untelling posterior, this sport utility vehicle is approaching near 200,000 miles. Nonetheless, with my car reaching seniority, certain concerns have indeed arisen. I ignore these normally. Now, AI can not only save you money on repairs, but it can offer the comfort of knowing your daily companion on the road is in good hands. Now you're probably thinking, well, Alec, please shut up. Tell me already, man. Stop stalling. Well, an OBD, this thing, or an onboard diagnosis is a small, relatively inexpensive device your local mechanic uses to figure out how much money he can take from you. You can find these relatively inexpensive on Amazon. And as the name suggests, an OBD just essentially diagnoses what's wrong with your vehicle. Now, through AI, you can input this diagnostic data raw into an AI like ChatGPT and get a live feed of the potential concerns you may need to start pontificating. Through this process, I just recently managed to save thousands of dollars and my transmission from failing just from a few preemptive clicks. Now, together, let's drive towards a future where technology not only serves us, but cares for us. Thank you.
So as the guy who ran AMCO, who repairs transmissions, I don't like this.
You don't like it?
But no. The question I ask you seriously, the car companies are making an argument that the data on the chips is theirs and are trying to create laws to stop OBDs from being available to independent mechanics, so that you must go to the dealer. Is this getting around that, or is that an open risk to your idea?
See, are these automotive companies being successful? Because if you go on Amazon,
they're putting. So I recognize the product's there, right? So that you as an individual can get around. I recognize that. But what the companies are trying to do is get legal permission. General Motors and Ford get legal permission to not let the OBD readers read that. That the data would be encrypted solely to their machines.
well, I can't really speak too far on that because I'm sure that's still in the starting phases of the lawsuits, etc. But a quick Amazon search, you'll see for like $20 to $30, there's plenty of OBDs still online. Maybe you want to just snag one before they come illegal or something.
I think a clarifying factor here is that this is not a business. It's just a daily life use case. So he's not attempting to sell the technology.
Just trying to help you out.
Well, I was actually hoping that you had a way around that code on the chip, the encryption. But maybe that's the next version of this.
He usually just kicks it when the truck starts. So.
Hit with a hammer.
Yeah, there you go. Any other?
So the OBD tells you the issue. How do you use AI to tell you the solution?
So essentially the OBD will give you a bunch of codes and a bunch of information relating to what is wrong with the car and certain electronic issues that occur within it. And you can input this data as well as the model make and the specific car information in ChatGPT, and it'll, with decent accuracy, depict certain things you should probably start to watch out for. With my transmission, it was starting to slip a little bit. I brought it in, I used the OBD to see certain issues, and I was able to come up with a solution to try and negate some of those potential issues.
All right, I'm going to cut the questions there. Thank you. Hello, everyone. All right, so this is my part. I don't actually have a presentation today. I just wanted to show you guys 2 demos of some stuff that I usually do in terms of back-end development, rapid prototyping, and ideation. So this is Blender. It is a very large application that many designers use for 3D modeling, and you can do extremely realistic designs with Blender that look completely lifelike. And professionals can take weeks to do designs, animations, film, cinematography with it. But the biggest thing is it takes almost 4 years to learn every in and out of this application because it is so, it has so much depth. And that's what makes it great. But the biggest thing that I see in the AI space is the lowering of these barriers to entry to things like this. So instead of going to school for 8 years for graphic design just to work at Disney, I can do this by quite literally language prompting this model. So this is a ChatGPT 4 Turbo Blender assistant that I downloaded for free on GitHub, just an open source code upload that some developers made. And I obviously pay for GPT-4 publicly, and I also pay for the developer use APIs, so you can pay basically per use for how much you're using, similar to what Josh is doing with his text inputting for the esthetician business. I just pay for however much processing power I use. So I'm not going to go through all the setup for that, but essentially you can plug in many APIs like this to many softwares and remove that barrier to entry with a lot of software to make it easier for people to create things. So I see this breaking down entries in marketing, design, all types of industries. And I'm just going to do a quick example for you guys on Blender. So I'm going to do one prompt and then I'll take a prompt from the crowd. So the first thing I'll do is let's say, extremely detailed, stylistic ring. Usually it's a bit faster, we may be stuck with Babson Wi-Fi here. There we go. And just like that, it creates a ring. And normally, if you were to be doing this by hand, you could spend, I have an engineering background in high school. I've built tons of models. I built cannons. I built prosthetic hands. And this has sped up my work rate by at least 4 to 5x with applications like this. There's also other applications that I use it for, like image generation and video generation, similar to what Reese does, except I use larger models like Stable Diffusion. And what I'll do is essentially go on free Google Colab notebooks online, which are cloud computing services, where you can generate tons and hundreds and thousands of images and turn it into cinematography. And you have full control over what you're doing in that space. You can eventually fully orchestrate cinematic films that are completely AI generated, but human-led, human-prompted, human-directed. And even Coca-Cola and big companies have already put out advertisements that you may have watched and had no idea that they were completely AI generated or AI generated and CGI assisted. So yeah, we don't have too much time, so I won't go into the video generation aspect, but I will take one more prompt just from the crowd and to experiment a little bit with Wonder. Yeah, a beaver. A beaver. And if any of you are interested in finding out more about other technologies similar to this, you can reach out to me anytime. I'll always respond to emails about anything creative. I love integrating any technology or any ideas you have. If you want to just mess around, you don't know where to start, shoot me a message. Okay, our beaver may be very small. Or we may be lacking context. So it may not be able to do a viewer actually with this model. We could add context to this scheme. I could download models and import them, image models, 3D generated models. And a lot of the biggest thing with this is for rapid prototyping, when you're designing something, you can do an image generation on Midjourney, similar to what Reese does, that's extremely artistic. And then you can overlay that onto a 3D base. So you can essentially 3D generate the shape and then also the exact exterior look of anything you're prototyping. And then you can take that, view it in VR, with Gravity Sketch, so you can size it, get a feel for how it would interact in the real world, and then of course, in the rapid prototyping stage, 3D print it. And that's something that I hope to bring to Babson in the coming years for everyone who has business ideas and wants to iterate on them very fast. So that's about it for me, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a hand up there. How many descriptors can you add to your model?
Actually, sure. I could not answer that question for you right now, but I can look into it.
Can it combine models, and if so, does it maintain the integrity, like the layers, or does it turn it into two completely different?
Blender, you can combine models. It does take a bit of finagling.
With the assistant itself.
Oh, the assistant.
Yeah. Or is it
Not
just
exactly. So
regarding
currently, you can input different API keys. So if I go here, you can see you actually have access to a lot of different models. I actually can't find it right now, but you have access to a lot of different models that focus on different types of, so you can do, OpenAI has a vast number of models, and you can combine, I think, up to 4 models with different plugins. But yeah, I could give you a more in-depth answer next time.
Do you know how long the average generation time is? So if you have a really complex model, will it take days to generate?
Yes and no. That really breaks down to GPU and CPU power, internet, a lot of things. I try to work on Ethernet, but obviously a lot of people who are successful with this technology either pay for a lot of cloud computing or have their own hardware. Keep moving for the sake of time. So this will be Muya, who is the president of the Babson AI Club. She is also going to be doing a ChatGPT plugin demo for you guys.
Hi, this is Maria, and for today's AI Tools Show and Tell event, I'd like to show you how I use ChatGPT to generate process flowchart. So here I have everything open in front of me, because for the sake of time being, I can't generate it on the spot, since it's going to take a while. So I'm just going to walk you through my process. Okay, so at the top left corner, as you can see here, it says ChatGPT plugins. So there are different options, as you can tell. And so basically what plugins are, oops, let's go back. Basically what plugins are, you can see them as these add-on tools that enhance ChatGPT's performance for a very specific purpose. For example, I have these 4 tools installed. I believe you can have like a lot more installed as well. And obviously for today's flowchart generation, I'll only be using AI diagrams. Okay, so I now have it selected, and I've processed it, and so this is the prompt that I entered into ChatGPT. So generate a process flowchart for making business decisions with big data. And so this is the result that it gives me. So let's walk through this. Starting point is identifying business problems, and then gather relevant big data, cleaning processing, analysis, interpret results, making decisions, implement them, etc. I'd say this is pretty good on a high level, but one thing I'm not very satisfied with is how linear it looks. It does say that you need feedback and adjustment, but it doesn't really show here on the diagram. So what I can do is I can either click on the link. This allows you to adjust it manually. So you can move it around. Oops. You can move it around, or you can even edit the text. Or you can go back and try to revise this chart by entering another prompt. So, okay, so I'm going to enter make it less linear to show that it's an iterative process. Okay. Again, it takes a while for it to generate. Yeah, now this is the results. It does add the element of the feedback loop, but as you can see here, it's still kind of monotone. So at the end of the day, I do revise on the flowchart that generates, but I think it still offers a pretty good framework for me.
So next guess was that.
Yeah, right. You did a quick. Hey everyone, I'm Zach. I'm a sophomore here. I'm not in the AI class that I know a lot of people up here are in, but I was invited by Reese to talk about something that I'm working on with a couple of friends here, which is called Foundry. Yeah. So Foundry is an online financial literacy course that will change the curriculum and the lessons that you base on what you invest in. So essentially, you can next slide. Essentially, how it's going to work is that when users sign up, they can create a brokerage account on their app, which connects to their bank, and then they can purchase the subscription of the platform, and then they begin their learning. After about, I have 5 lessons here right now. I haven't done. That's a number I came up with, so I don't know exactly how many lessons they'll go through. But essentially, how it's going to work is that people will get a certain amount of their of the subscription that they put in given back to them to invest in actual stocks and securities. And then as the course goes on, it'll leverage AI and then evolve and change the material and the curriculum of the course based on the securities that the user decides to invest in. So say the user invests in like certain tech stocks and then fixed income bonds. The course would look at the tech stocks and the bonds that it looked at. It'll take everything into account, both quantitative and qualitative, using different neural networks, and it'll actually change the course and tell it why those are good investments, why those are bad investments. And basically, so the deeper that you get into the course, the more personalized the experience gets, and the deeper, and then you can eventually set by this kind of long-term, build a long-term portfolio, and gain a deep understanding of finance. So, like as I said, the course will create itself. I'm planning on using 2 different neural networks. I want to use convolutional neural networks for analyzing different stocks and trends of the stock that they pick. And I want to use recurrent neural networks that are much better for handling different sequences and variable inputs. So it's a lot better for handling numerical data, different data of different stocks, analyzing full balance sheets and financial statements and things like that. And these aren't actually how they're laid out. It's laid out through mathematics and code. But this is if you were to visualize how these would work. This is kind of how it would look. So that's all I have. Thanks, guys.
What was it called?
Sorry, it's called Foundry. So it means moon in Greek. So the idea of it is there's a slang moon for when your stocks go to the moon and they totally boom. That's kind of the idea behind it. And the Greeks were pioneering ahead of their time, stuff like that. So I wanted like more of a luxurious sounding thing. I didn't want it to sound like cheap. I wanted it to sound like something of value. So that's kind of the idea behind the name.
Yes. How have you established this, or do you have data of the
No, nothing established yet. So the idea originally, what it was going to be you buy scratch-off tickets from stores, and you actually scratch them off, and you get securities instead of actual money. And it was basically going to be to get people off of gambling and into the stock market. But states have monopolies on lotteries. So you're unable to create a new lottery, a new ticket, and it would be driven out of the market. And we'd also want it to be online, and gas stations lobby against lottery tickets going online because it's one of the largest sources of revenue. So this is much more of a recent pivot. So it's still kind of the idea stage. We're working on legalities with being able to actually use securities in the app and stuff like that.
All right. One more.
Yeah, so when you're putting the data in, is it individualized? Is it risk reward? How does it use these networks to come up with something that's unique for you, or is it just education about financial in general using the general principles that you get in the finance course?
So it's gonna be using more of the general principles of the finance course. We wanted to kind of build like a finance course, but it's then going to use these to analyze different stock information and build it together. We're gonna have a course set, and it's gonna use this to fill that shell of the course with different information that's tailored using these, analyzing it based on the stocks that they decide to, or other securities they decide to invest in.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, last question.
I wanted to ask if you've ever thought about like the limitations of, I guess, some of the privacy issues in like COGS. So like allowing AI to access like your financial information, maybe like the stocks as well.
Yeah, so that's exactly why this is still the idea phase. I actually stepped out earlier to have a call with someone that we're working with in terms of legal. Because the first thing that we want to do before we start investing all in on this is make sure that this is legally feasible in terms of privacy laws, in terms of the SEC dealing with digitalized securities, and we want to have some kind of currency and stuff as well, like an in-app currency and stuff. So all of that is currently being assessed.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
All right. You want to go first? Yeah. Okay, so I put this together like very last minute because I got asked today to do this. But yeah, so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been building at Weissman. So apologies to all of you that are in the class because a lot of you have participated quite a few times. But imagine that you walk into a store, and in walking into that store, every single item of clothing that you see, it's not just any item of clothing. All these items of clothing are catered to you and your preferences and all of your tastes. And it's almost as if the retail person that has been working in the store has taken, a full analysis on your entire shopping history, your current shopping you're doing at the moment, and anything that's in your closet as you speak. And this solves like a heap of problems that are currently possessed in the e-commerce marketplace. So product discovery is broken, pretty much doesn't exist, and there's excessive scrolling, lack of conversions, and difficulty finding products. The biggest one here for the industry size is conversions. In the US, it's an average of 2%, which is 2 out of every 100 people that visit your site don't actually convert to a sale. So that's obviously a huge problem. And the large portion of that is because people can't actually find the products they want. There's also so many issues to actually get to the final checkout process. First, you have to find your product. Maybe it's in stock, maybe it's not. Maybe they have your size, maybe they don't. And then you have to finally put in all of that stuff in the checkout process. That's just really cumbersome and boring. So the solution is Refine, which is what helps you discover the products that you want faster. We have a better product recommendation than anything on the market right now, and we have AI-powered search, which allows you to describe exactly what you want, and then you're able to find it. So what that means is that's like as easy as describing you want a new coat for your suit that you have. We already know what suit you own, so that coat that we're describing to you is that you're describing to us is the perfect recommendation exactly for that. So there's 3 main portions of our experience. There's an endless recommendation scroll of personalized products, so no more cutting through pages and trying to find products, but all the products that you're seeing are not only your size but catered to you. We have that AI search tool which I described, and you're also able to choose a product and tell Refine what you want different, and we'll match your taste to that. So it's like I'm wearing this green sweater, but I actually want it to be a different knit. So I can actually tell Refine that I want the knit of this sweater to be different, and then we'll show you other products that are similar to this but have a different knit. So this is kind of our tech timeline, and I kind of wanted to include this because we're obviously talking about the technologies that are happening in the marketplace right now. And the tech that we're using is really has only come out in the last 6 to 8 months. Besides obviously the release of Clip, which is the first model that kind of gives us this first step. So brief walkthrough, OpenAI released Clip in January of 2021, and what Clip allows you to do in kind of 5th grade terms is connecting text to images through vector embedding. So what that does is it allows you to describe something and connect that text of that description to an image, which is what powers our search. And then Stanford researchers fine-tuned the Clip model for fashion,
So there's kind of a research paper that's come out of Stanford that allows the fine-tuning of the fit model for fashion. April 2023, we've seen a boom in the vector database space, which is what we're using to kind of surround this whole system. And now big tech is following as of recently. Microsoft, Amazon, Google start offering cloud services supporting vector search. And like literally 5 minutes ago, I got a call from AWS because we're like just got the AWS Activate, and we're like being competed for between AWS Activate and Google Cloud because they want us to kind of showcase their vector technology. And so now we're basically betting on training a model to make vector embeddings work for fashion like nothing on the market before. So kind of this is where we're at for currently for traction. I mean, you guys can read. We have some significant traction right now. We're in AWS Activate and also the Google Cloud. I can't remember the name of it right now. And we're basically just building. Our tech timeline right now is pretty extensive, and we're raising money because we need an extensive team of engineers and scientists to kind of utilize all this data that we're collecting to actually build this system. So we have a functioning MVP, and we're also a bifurcated business model. So we have a B2B platform, which we offer our algorithm as a licensing to other businesses. We also have the consumer model, which is that perfect shopping system as well. Yeah, we're raising $1 million on a safe. We're about 20% committed, and that should hopefully be done in the next week or two with a couple of notable investors that we have lined up as well. And that's the plan.
When your AI is scrolling to get this information or doing whatever it does to get this information, how much of that has to be within certain parameters? Like if I said I want General Grant's coat from when he was in the Babson, not the real coat, but a replica of that. Does it go after those weird little things, or is it more like find me a suit that has a trim fit, fits in blue, and a certain cotton?
So both. So for the first, yes, like a certain cotton, a certain fit, that's obviously the first part, and that's kind of what we're initially targeting because that doesn't really exist, and there's a really demonstrated need for that. And then for like the hyper-specific, like unique queries, that's kind of a partnership between our system and also like implementing the large language model as well. So that large language model is already trained on data, so they would know that specific code, generalist code that you suggested, and then pull that information and embed into our platform as well. So that would be like, that could happen, it's just like, will take time to train the model further.
But that implies that the vendor, if you will, that would be providing that sort of product somehow is aware of and tied into it. So if it's a local tailor in Boston doing it on his own, you wouldn't necessarily find that person using this unless they have their own website or something set up that you can get to, right?
Yeah. I mean, the goal is obviously to continue growing our database. Like we've been building for about 3 months and already at 2 million products. We're planning at launch to hit 10 million products so that the suggestions are way better. And also that's like beating most online retailers right now because we're combining all of their product databases into one. So yes, that would have to be obviously a specific case, but the goal would be that it would be there already. So
thank you.
Yeah.
So you don't handle any logistics. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. You don't handle any logistics on the sell side, right? It's from wholesaler to end user, correct? So what if you gave me a recommendation for cuttings and colors, etc.? Do I have to input any sort of body measurements so it actually fits well, or is it just small, medium, large? And if I don't like it, do I send it to you or through the person through the wholesaler I bought from?
So there's like 2 questions in that. First, so we already have your shopping behavioral data through our plugin. If you've used our plugin before, so the goal would be that we're creating similarities between the products you've already purchased. So there shouldn't have to be any issues with us. Like you have to input like my measurements. I mean, if you want to get more specific, we'll probably have that option, but the goal would be we don't want to have that because nobody wants to do that. And then the second is like all logistics are handled by our third-party retailer. So when you order through our site, for example, it ships from whatever the retail partners comes, but it comes with all of our branding. And then whenever you do return, it's through our site, but it's returned back to the retailer. And so we handle all the payments in the back end like that as well. So you get refunded back immediately, and then we'll get the refund back from your provider, and then you're shipping back to the retailer. So there's it's a very streamlined process. The goal is, our kind of part of our ethos is a one-click checkout for everything, and it's the most simplified shopping system there is. Yeah, and then you have a question as well?
Yeah, I really like this idea.
Thank you.
This is already how I shop. But my first question is, how are you building your database? And then the second question, and I'm sorry if I missed this, do you have retail partners already?
Yeah. So first question, how are we building our database? So right now it's a combination of web scraping and partnerships. So we have partnerships with Essence, which is a massive online retailer, and Farfetch is, we have all their products already because we web scraped, but we can't actually sell those, that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on the partnership with them right now. But for each partnership, we need, first of all of our IP protected also, and then there's a lot of legal stuff that has to go with the partnership. So that's why we have to kind of complete the raise so that we can pay our lawyer before we. And then the retail partnerships, we have some in counting, but there's actually ways now in which we can partner with specific companies that also open us to key retailers as well. So there's a person that went to Babson that's working at this company called Joro, and that opens you up to 85 different retailers in one connection. So we started talks with them. But again, we need money to build partnerships. So yeah. Any other questions?
So a lot of you that are in the class already know a lot of this, but for those who don't know, hi, I'm Chloe, and I'm a junior at Babson, and I'm building Bond. So Bond is a people management tool for virtual teams. What we do is we spark interactions between team members so they can build stronger virtual communities. And how it works is, every day you and your team get one bonding activity. It could be a question, a quiz, or a challenge, and you have a certain amount of time to respond. If you get your answers in on time, then you have access to your teammates' results. Teammates' results can vary. They could be something short, like Anastasia is going to respond with one word and an emoji, or it could be something that's a little bit more like an essay, like Louise. But these types of different answers really show you the personality behind your teammates. And those are things that you can't really see when you're working behind a computer and you don't have any real-time interactions with people. That's why when these things happen, we want to spark deeper conversations. So we provide every team a private team chat so they can keep those conversations going and those bonds growing. Something that we're rolling out actually this Monday are the gamification features. And what the gamification features are, leaderboards, streaks, and an engagement meter. The engagement meter allows you to rack up bonding points, which you can cash out as bonding bucks for real-time rewards. So we incentivize users to be engaging with each other and building these connections. And while they're building these connections, they're actually racking up bonding points so that they can dispense it in real-time rewards. I actually took the opportunity in AI class because I wanted to figure out ways that I can integrate AI into Bond so I can make the process better. One of the big things that I was facing, one of the big roadblocks to my scalability was actually prompt generation. It was really hard for me to be able to create unique prompts for the specific teams that I was working with. Because I needed to understand their team culture and then provide prompts that would fit within what the team was looking for to build those connections. Also, it was taking me a lot of time and a lot of research to try and figure out what would be these prompts that would spark these conversations with these teams. And all the prompts were different based on what the team's industry was in, the different ages, the demographics. But now I can do it all super fast if I just plug it into AI. I plug in the different information that I get from these teammates' user profile, and I also plug in from the past responses, past engagement, and past questions that I was using, and I just plug it into the AI and actually spits out in a minute, 100 different prompts that I can use and plug in. I tested it out 3 weeks ago with the old prompts that I was using, the old questions, and I was like, hey, can you generate a like 100 different prompts that I can use for the teams that I are actually beta testing our platform. The Foundry Scouts are actually beta testing our platform. I'm gonna go to the next slide. And oh yeah, kind of skip. This was what I was talking about. So we hired an AI expert that kind of gave us some consultancy and also integrated ChatGPT API onto our platform so that we could be able to generate the team prompts. Next slide. So on the slide is where we got the feedback from the AI generated prompts. And the feedback that we got was that the type of prompts that were being generated weren't diverse enough. So it was kind of spitting them out into these chunks where it was like, for a week you would get the same type of prompt, it was just targeted towards a different person. And then another week it was like, we're gonna do it all based on the industry. Another week it was gonna be all based on specific individuals in the company. And so the feedback was, okay, it's starting to become really redundant and we don't want to come back the next day and actually keep answering these prompts because it's just going to lead to the same type of relationship building. So we're like, okay, how can we enhance, how can we move forward from there? And they were like, okay, you have to have a human review the prompts before they're sent out and try to build an interface where it's easy for the human to be able to review those prompts. Another thing that you could do is add another step when the AI is actually generating the prompts, where they randomize them based on the type of the prompt. So a question, a quiz, a challenge, a bingo, 2 truths and a lie. Try to kind of like randomize those prompts so it's not just the same thing over and over again. So with my AI team, shout out to Matt, Alec, Daniel, and Jake. We came up with we did like an AI brainstorm session idea based on the feedback that we were getting from our beta testers on what are different ways that we can integrate AI onto Bond. And for example, something that came up was AI-generated retreats. A lot of these companies that have moved virtual after COVID, the number one thing that they told me was that really built these human connections was the retreats that they were doing. But these retreats, number one, cost a lot of money, and they've been taking managers, team leaders, and founders months to plan. But if we're able to utilize the data that we're getting from these team bonding answers, then the AI could actually produce that entire plan of the ideal retreat for the most amount of people on the team. And what and instead of the manager trying to break their head on trying to figure out, okay, is this a good activity? Is this good food? What are people's allergies? People could just go into the app and kind of upvote, this is a good activity, I think we should do it. This is, we all want Italian food, I think we should go there. That's one example of how AI could actually enhance the platform and help us build stronger connections and kind of reduce the time that a manager, a founder, or a team leader has to put into trying to build a strong and inclusive community. Next slide. Yep, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yeah.
You guys tried separating, like it's a different level of automation. You pick days and categories for the prompts, and then the prompts themselves have like more defined categories within them. But you go by day, like Mondays is tips and tricks. And
yeah, so that's one of the feedbacks that we got. Something that we're really trying to A/B test in the future. It's like some people like the spontaneity, other people like more kind of having like a plan and knowing what to expect. So like Taco Tuesdays, is that what you're trying to refer to? Like we could do something like coffee chat Wednesdays or something like that. So that's definitely a great idea that we should look into. But I'm trying to figure out like how that would work with the AI. Yeah.
I can talk to it.
Yeah, I love that. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anybody worked with a virtual team before? Yeah? How was the team culture? No, not good. Alright. Any other questions?
Does it have to be for a team, or could you do it for, I recognize it's bonding.
Yeah.
But can it be a rotating team? In other words, that like if I'm on a project team for 1 week, and then a different project team the next week, and then a different project team the next week, so that my profile would need to shift to my profile would stay the same. The people that I would be interacting with would shift. So does it lock you into the same group, or can you be very flexible and moving it around?
So a real life example of that would be consultants, right?
Right.
So we're actually going to start working with a team at Deloitte in 2 weeks that we're going to be able to test this out with. We want to figure out, while you're relationship building with these teammates, how can you take it from just kind of like a team level to a broader company level? How can you start building connections with people that aren't necessarily on your day-to-day team? How can you start actually building connections with people that are working on different teams? And in a consultant, when you're working as a consultant, you're actually going to eventually work on a project with one of those teammates. So how can you pick those teammates to work on instead of just being randomly set into those groups? Yeah.
Virtual teams I've worked with have had time zone issues. How does it deal with that?
So right now the way that we have it is, let's say the question comes out at 9 a.m., the question closes at 5 p.m. A lot of the feedback that we got is, no, we want, as soon as you put in the answer, as soon as you respond to the question, you get everyone's answers. So kind of like Be Real. I don't know if you know what that app is. Yeah. And so that was some of the feedback that we got. And how it would work with time zones is we would just have the question go on for 24 hours. So if you look up, the time in the day where the most people are active on their phone is 9 a.m. EST. So 9 a.m. EST would be the standardized time for when the question would come out, and everybody in the company would have 24 hours to respond to that question, and then 9 a.m. EST the next day, another question would come out.
So I teach FME this semester, and you're welcome to come in and pitch this to the class and see if it's like teams or teams would like to adopt.
Thank you. That's all. I appreciate it. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No. Thank you so much.
All right, so this will be the last one. It's just a demo, not a big presentation. Feel free to.
Hi, I'm Vega. I'm a freshman. I'm the co-founder of the 2GPT. For now, we're just on the demo stage right now. And I just finished the auto uploading meeting yesterday, so we'll have a lot more bugs coming in. So I got this idea from high school. So I realized that lots of my friends have very limited time for reading. So they will have like the school ends at 3 p.m. They'll have sports practice. They have clubs. They went to work until like 9 p.m. and we have our AP physics homeworks, and they're complaining, oh, I have to study till 6 a.m. in order to like get a good for test results. And I was like, oh, what about AP Lit? They have no time for reading. So that's how I come up with the idea for the book 2GPT, which we upload several books, maybe just like 3 of the high school books for testing. We got the Animal Forest in 1984, and I'll just click in that. So this is just like a brief background about the books, and we got the chat box here. We can just ask all the questions about like a specific detail about the book. If we want to write an essay, we might not remember every single detail of the topic we choose to talk about, and that's just my testing, just ignore that. And this is the fast reading feature. It's kind of like Spark Notes. We got the summaries, and the bridge version is like a brief summary, sound summary, and we generate like pictures. And this is usually the cool part for like when I show people, they'll be like, wow, like what is that? But that's like a character map. So students can look at, like, if they choose a character to analyze, they can just like drag it around and look at like all the relationships. And it generates questions. Like a big thing about high school students is they need to take SAT or ACT tests for college. And they don't really have that much time to read like 50 books in a year. So this project just helped them to fast reading and do like the practice question to like quickly understand the book. And I think if you randomly choose, like it will give you the correct answers. And then that's the essay and paper things. We still have to like do more development of that because we'll probably upload more like standard essay and paper, so that we've got like a more developed structure about this. And lastly is the vocabulary feature. And for this one, in future, we'll kind of personalize it to like each people will have different vocabulary to their like major or their like vocab level, their interest. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
How does this differ from Cliff Notes? I get it's interactive a little bit, but Cliff Notes provide summaries of the books and et cetera. So is it similar to that, or how's it different?
So I think a big issue in like those type of projects is the copyrights. So our product is kind of different because it get collaborate with people around the house. We got like the contracts, so we can like and later we can actually upload in the official books and the I think the draft that author make in that like publishing companies. So it will have like kind of the official like rights to using it. Yeah. That's the
Two questions. Did you build this?
I personally did not build this. I find my co-founder. He's a programmer in China and he'll be the whole programming team.
Okay.
So I just like do the target customer stuff and I do the marketing.
Okay. Do you know the like average upload time on each book?
Yeah. So for now, like we just finished the auto uploading feature, so the average upload time for each book is about like 5 minutes. If it's the like average one, but if it's like 1,000 page, that might be like a lot longer.
So like it'll generate all of that in 5 minutes.
Yeah, for like the at least for the fast reading part. So it kind of works like that. It was start from PDF and then it turned into Excel.
Yeah.
And we do like the title stuff and it just like generates.
Like the master, not the
How accurate are the responses that the chatbot gave you depending on the complexity of the question?
So at the beginning, it was like kind of everywhere. It's like not super accurate and gives different response each time. But right now, I think it's pretty good for like the training of each book. So more people using it, the response is like actually more accurate.
So are you just targeting like the high school college market, or do you think there could be a version for like middle-aged book clubs, that kind of thing? Other people who need to show they've got some knowledge of books? Hypothetically.
Yeah, so for this product, like we're actually using like the same method. It's like a structure of method. So now we're using in high school and college market, but the same things can actually like using in a one particular book, one particular class, one particular field. It's like all the same.
I think you already said it. You get the copyright from Penguin Random House.
Yes.
So they're a collab. So they give you the copyright to upload all these stuff.
So right now we're sending the contract of like they given me like 100 books right now, so we can test it out and see like what's the result, and we come back and we talk more about it.
Okay.
I believe that's it for the speakers today. I mean, there's about 10, 15, hundreds more demos I'd love to give you guys. There's more students that are doing more, so we'll definitely be doing more of these events. But thank you all, Creative Minds, for coming out and listening, and I hope you enjoy it. See you soon.
What? It's a little different.